He is the chosen one. You must see it.
I gave Qui-Gon my word.
Is it the chosen one?
He is.
And it is the Jedi who will stand in the way of peace.
It's not whether or not we fight.
It's how we choose to fight that matters.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
The Force will be with you, always.
And I will not be the last Jedi.
Hello, and welcome to the World Between Worlds, a Star Wars podcast where we are four film enthusiasts talking about Star Wars in chronological order. We are just wrapping up Clone Wars.
And build up to the Rise of Skywalker.
I'm going to be your host, Jordan, and I haven't been here in a while, but the kid's back. You know how I do. And,
where you been?
Places. Places. My name's Jordan.
My name's Yates. I'm still here.
Yates is actually going to be the moderator. I don't know how to do this.
My name's Jessica.
And my name is Keats.
And we are talking about Season 4, Episode 5, The Occupation, Season 4, Episode 6, Flight of the Defender, and Episode 7, Kindred. So in the Occupation, Ezra is, sleeping on that ship, and he's like, oh shit, Ryder and Big Joe are in trouble. We got to go help them. Ezra, is really adamant about going to help his boys out on Lothal, but Mon Mothma is not having it, because
she actually is having it. She lets them go.
She lets them go, but she hits him with the jab, like, yo, everyone's suffering, and then he's like, oh, that's true. But yeah, they then get sent to Lothal, and it is way worse than Ezra would have thought, and the kid starts blaming himself for it.
And I do like that very directly. It sort of addresses where we left off the previous week with the Saw Gerrera episodes, where that was pretty much the central question of like...
to be or not to be?
To be or not to be. Like, are we sitting on our asses, like, letting all these terrible things happen?
To be or not to be? Am I sitting on my ass?
Right.
Kanan, what have they done? Lothal looks like it's dying.
Your home isn't exactly the place you remember, kid. Better prepare yourself.
Very nice. Good job, Jordan. Jesus H. Christ.
Arigato.
Arigato. Arigato gozaimasu. Lothal is where this story started. I believe we all remarked at the very beginning of the show how cool we thought Lothal was. The three of us going back to this planet, knowing that we would...
Three of us.
The three of us, me, Jordan, and Keats, knowing that we would be going back to this planet at the end and that it would have this greater significance. Jessica, as a first-time viewer, just saying, oh, you know what? This is cool. We've got these farm people. We've got the manufacturing thing. Lothal seems to be, in terms of this show, definitely the most thoroughly fleshed out planet that we get. And here it is in a time of crisis. And our characters have all sorts of... Mainly Ezra has all these... Like you were saying, Jordan, he feels like this is his fault.
Yeah, because they end up getting trapped. I mean, they're constantly on the run.
Yeah.
The stress is palpable. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many stormtroopers everywhere, and officers, and tanks, and gunships, and TIE fighters, and TIE defenders, and TIE interceptors, and TIE deceivers, and TIE receptionists. Like, there's so many TIE fighters. I want more. Give me more designs. I want 3 new ones in Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, stop. I really like how the show has done, like, pretty much every season we check in, even just for 1 or 2 episodes, just to see how things are doing. A lot of what we're describing has happened off screen. Like, we don't get to see all these terrible things that are described to us, but we do see the aftermath of them, which the characters are living through right now. And
that's definitely like a good thing in terms of like where we are with the characters.
Like, I agree.
I'm happy that they only get to see the aftermath. Like, being thrown right into it is a lot more powerful. I thought seeing Ezra's home, just like the whole landscape completely obliterated, was a pretty big whoa moment for me.
Yeah, the scene where we see like Lothal from space. like the atmosphere and how it's like on fire or whatever. That was pretty intense.
Yeah, I
was
like
cool.
that.
And I think they go into it a little bit more.
I hope so. Yeah, I definitely want more because I don't think it was really.
I think it's the best that they probably could do.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think
the most we got was like, hey, you're up past curfew.
they like have at this point pretty much touched on everything that was there from the previous seasons, and I feel like that's what this episode was like. Oh, we're picking up with the smugglers, like Vijago. He's still around, but he's working within this now, and even the kid from the academy, Dante Vasca, Jack L, whatever.
Big D.
I like the propaganda playing.
Yeah,
and
I really like all the propaganda in Star Wars.
they always
Wait, didn't
get me
this
with
come
that
out
shit.
before Solo?
Yeah, I noticed that too. The
Weren't
Imperial
people
March.
the Imperial March? People were like complaining about the Imperial March, but it was in Rebels.
It was in Rebel Season 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
When our great Emperor Palpatine ended the Clone Wars and founded our glorious empire.
A lot of locations they used from Season 1 again, just to show. Like the sewers they had from Season 1, and also the bar. I don't think that's the main bar that they went to, but I'm pretty sure. I think that might be
It
where
looks
they
like a
met
different
Lando.
bar.
Whitey McWhite, who took over the
I'm taking over.
Yeah.
Baron Zemo.
Baron Valen Udor.
Baron Valen Udor.
Baron?
Very crusty.
What does
I
that
definitely
even
miss
mean?
Big Joe.
It's it's unclear if he is a Baron or if his name is Baron.
I think his name is Baron.
I believe his
Coming-
name is Baron.
Is he coming back?
I was
I
confused
don't
about
know.
that too because they looked at his picture and they were like, "Who's gonna recognize us?" They're like, "Not Baron."
I know, and I'm like, who?
I think he might have been.
I thought he was the pilot that was chasing them when they were in the storm.
you know what
I
he
think
is? He's
he-
a fucking idiot.
Oh!
Loser, and it's fucking weird.
Talking ships.
Yeah.
Yates, you like that?
Yeah.
There's more where that came from.
Yeah, good bit.
I
like
think
his Blade Runner jacket though.
just the way they. Yeah, I was kind of like boom, boom, boom. I
For all the
liked.
audiences out there that can see that.
He was so weird. Product of like incest. No offense to anyone who's a product of incest out there.
Definitely
you know what I
getting
mean?
cut.
Like.
Oh my god. Whoa. Dude, I know the AC's off, but damn.
Hated him, but I guess that was the point.
This is all getting cut. It's the most irrelevant part of the episode.
What's the relevant part of the episode then?
The new costumes.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love it. No, I think central point of this episode is, you know, the rebellion forming and its voice being heard and Sabine's symbol becoming the foundation.
I like that touch.
Whereas like because like we all know the rebellion symbol, and then now it's established that Sabine was kind of the one that made it or whatever, and like now they're using it to like lead people.
Wait, she
around?
made that, like, she's
Yeah,
the
she said, "Oh hey,
originator
look,
of
that's
that
my symbol."
I've been thinking about it now, and I always gravitated towards that moment where she sees her symbol, but she kind of sees her symbol as like an outsider for the first time. Like,
Yeah.
that's just her thing that she does.
Yeah.
And it means like something to certain people. Like they've done it.
Yeah.
She's tagged that symbol all throughout season 1.
Yeah.
And now the group that started that symbol is in like their own moment of crisis where they're like, man, what do we do from here? Ezra's like, Lothal is done. And then they see their own symbol that they left probably from like season 1. Like, oh right, like this is what we did before. But it means something different now that like so many lives are caught up in all of.
Yeah, people are using it to like make paths, you know, to like sneak around and after they do some shady stuff, but good shady stuff.
I just want to take a moment to talk about just like how much better the lighting got like overnight.
Dude, I said I think in the very first episode we talked about Clone Wars, I was like, you can always tell when they have extra money because the lighting looks like a billion times better. And I think this whole end of season 4 has looked like the lighting looks fantastic. Like everyone's backlit, there's a lot of definition in
It looks
everyone's face.
so good constantly.
Awesome. Yeah.
Like it looks. I don't think there's like anything about it I would want to improve. I think it looks perfect.
The black smoke billowing scene, I was like, holy fuck. Like,
Yeah, I know what
this
you're
just
talking
looks like so like photorealistic almost.
Yeah. In Flight of the Defender, after escaping, our heroes are scouting out the base where the TIE Defender Advanced, or Elite, or whatever it's called, TIE Defender Plus. Is being tested. And Thrawn is there. They make the best of their shitty situation with the help of their new spirit guides, the Loth Wolves.
I thought I saw something. I think it's a Loth Wolf. No one's seen them in 100 years, but I think I keep seeing one today.
A Loth Wolf? Like from those old cave paintings?
Love those fucking wolves.
Yeah, the wolves. The design, I think, is really great.
I love how they're big, and I love how they have, like, those little markings on them.
Yeah, I think they're like scales. They're like scaly. I think they're just not human and not real world enough. And the way the face looks, there's just small details that push it into being more than the wolves that we know from Earth. But even so, I mean, Dave Filoni has said like his whole thing with wolves is just like they mean so many things like across cultures and like and we get such a visceral reaction when a wolf shows up. You see them in like 2 million movies because we have all these interesting feelings towards them.
Well, if you think about it, like that was like our pre-human,
our buddy.
That was our buddy, like when we were first starting as
Airbud
humans.
before Airbud.
Really?
But I loved how they like made it prehistoric because you never like Star Wars is like sci-fi and it's like a future people, but they went into like the past. Like I just never thought about that. How there's like prehistoric people like in the Star Wars universe, like where like prehistoric stories. I think it really worked.
Yeah, I think it really worked too.
I think when the story is like prehistoric, it doesn't really work. Like the old EU stuff, that's like based,
you mean like the literal timeline of Star Wars?
Yeah,
like where the Sith look like they're wearing like Egyptian things. And
yeah,
things like
that shit's whack. Yeah, it's
That's
so
fucking
whack.
crazy.
It's so lame.
Egyptian Sith.
Super corny. Yeah.
But like I feel like in this way it was just like really spiritual.
By taking it from the real world, it's also like grounding it. There's ducks in like a wide shot in Attack of the Clones, and then there's no other animals from our real world. The Millennium Falcon, I guess, that like ties it to our real world, but we really don't have any character that's just like, yo, it's an elephant. Like, look, it's the Star Wars elephant, and it's just an elephant. It's like always it has to be sort of separated very far from even the Loth cats. They don't really look like cats. They look like, you know, this whole
they definitely
other
look
thing.
strange.
They look
and that's
weird.
good.
Yes. But they also make it like realistic enough and like cute enough that it's not like dumb.
Well, they have to sell plushies. So.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I feel like I would not be able to make a design that would sell plushies. And when I look at them, I'm like, hell yeah, I want this porg. Hell yeah, I want this Loth cat. I want to have a child just so I can buy them.
Wow. I really like even just the first shot we see of the wolf just perched on the rock. Immediately Jessica's like, whoa, what the shit, you know? Like, what is this shit?
And the music.
Yeah, the music is great.
Oh
Yeah,
my god, their theme.
Yeah, great.
But yeah, it's so like, it really helps that they're like not like facing like head on. It's like in a really strange pose. Like it's unsure like to trust Ezra or not.
Yeah, and I think that's still in question.
I think
I
it was helping Ezra because literally they needed a distraction, and then the wolf shocked Ezra, and that's what caused him to like knock over the the canister or whatever.
I didn't think about it that way, but that definitely could have been
and that started the whole reaction.
I just think like that's one of the most interesting things about his character, that he's like has that special connection with animals and with nature.
I agree, and I think I almost wish they brought it up more, but whenever they do, there is like this sort of like payoff and like this
yeah, I'm kind of a fan of the less is more that they're going.
Yeah, if it was every episode and he was just like, bats, help me attack, and then just like a horde of bats just came as he ignited his lightsaber.
I definitely agree with that, but I think
Ezra's
even
on all fours dressed as a wolf.
like Eric Andre, like 101, I'm talking down. He's just in a superstore. So yeah, usually Ezra like calls on or inadvertently does this thing with his powers, but like here I really liked how the wolf is kind of like you said, like not sure if he's gonna help. One thing I noticed this time, and I had never really thought about it before, the wolves have like the yellow Sith eyes.
They have like evil eyes.
They have the evil Sith, but they're also all white. And so
they're maybe Grey Wolves.
Grey Wolves.
Maybe like the Bendu between.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe the wolves are Bendu reincarnated.
No,
but no more Bendu.
Bendu's gone forever.
That's funny you say that because I noticed the same thing, because I was like, well, can they trust the wolves? Because look at their eyes, like they look kind of evil.
You really gonna judge someone off their eyes though?
No, because I still gave them a chance.
Keats, as trying to either remember what it was like when you're first watching it, or just trying to use the information just that this episode gives us, what does it mean that the wolves want to help Ezra?
I think at this point it's just up in the air, but you definitely get this impression, like even before Kanan says it later on, that they're strong with the Force and they have some sort of knowledge as to something bigger that's going on, because we're just at like an Imperial factory, like that's pretty normal. So the fact that they found them as opposed to them finding out about Loth Wolves' existence and then going out to find them just says a lot more.
It also sort of calls into question, like, how real are they and what even are they? Because we see them as wolves, but in this episode, Ezra's the only one that can even see them.
I do think that they're just one of those, like, characters or whatever that does have a very strong connection with the Force, but it's not like it's beyond Jedi and Sith or like good and evil. It's just the Force.
It's just the Force.
But I like this even more because Bendu loves to talk and these wolves do not. So and there's a lot more questions, and the wolves, just their physicality, they're a lot more confrontational. And when Bendu walks up and he says, "I'm in the middle," I'm like, whatever, dude. Yeah, I believe you, sure. But these wolves, I believe that they are sort of like, they're operating completely serving what they perceive to be their own interest, but also, you know, we seem to be pulled more towards, like Bendu, they are also sort of serving the interests of like nature or like
this time around. I know we're really far away from the Bendu or whatever. He's in the background, but yeah, this time watching it, I think the Bendu's a con man.
What does that mean?
Dude, I feel the same way. I don't buy what he's selling.
Yeah,
dude.
it's like he's like the Wizard of Oz, like the Wizard of the Bendu. Like when you take off that
here's
curtain,
like a heart necklace, you mean? Like
you mean in how easily he was defeated?
Well, like I know, like
he was just like talking himself up, but he wasn't all that.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
It's kind of charming though.
I don't know, because we don't know what he's doing now. Like he could have just like transmuted into another form. Or
nah, he's drinking a margarita with Sam Jackson.
I'm busy practicing being in the middle, and it's just like getting hammered.
I don't understand. Why did you help us?
What would you say to someone who says that wolves are too relatable for Star Wars?
Yeah, because you actually have said that at multiple points throughout the podcast, that you don't like it when it's too tied to our real
people.
world. So.
Unless it's badass. Yeah, when I said that statement, there was asterisks that you didn't see. Read the fine print. But yeah, I'm okay with the wolves. Honestly, yeah, they are super connected, but they don't, like you said, they feel connected, but they don't at the same time.
I think, also thinking about it now, it's so obvious, the scale of them. They're not wolf size.
Oh, yeah, they're not wolves.
Oh, yeah,
they're huge.
Yeah.
That's right.
I like how they're so big. They like remind me of something that's like prehistoric or something.
Like a horse?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
something that's larger than life.
So the other half of this episode, and really the majority of it, honestly, is sort of more plot-centric, but sort of reintroducing the TIE Defender and bringing Thrawn back in, and sort of Ezra and Sabine's reaction to this and their camaraderie, which I thought was really fun over like the whole course of the episode. I really think they finally got to the point where like it could just be the two of them, and the past couple episodes has been just the two of them. I've really enjoyed. They play off each other really well at this point.
I'm starting to like hate Thrawn because he's like so evil to the rebels, but like I don't want to hate Thrawn because he's so cool and like has such a cool backstory, and it's like causing some conflict inside me because I'm like, why is Thrawn like evil? Like I feel like with his backstory and everything, which they don't go into in the show, and I want them to because it'd be like cool.
You have to buy the book.
Why is he so like into this? Like I feel like if I was in his shoes, I would just like be like not caring. Can anyone respond to that?
He's just been assured that as long as he serves, and he has a really high reputation, just as long as he serves, then his people are protected. So.
But he's so fucking motivated. Like, he's so motivated to kill them.
I will say one thing I was thinking about in this episode, and it's kind of like a subtext, I think I even broached in the season 3 finale, but just the idea of like Thrawn trying to exact his way of thinking and inject that into the Empire. Here, I felt like we got a good look into how, if Thrawn ran things, he would run things better. The TIE Defender program, the whole point of it is that obviously it's better and faster and has shields and stuff like that. I could go on and on about how that diverges from what was in the original trilogy, but I think there was another thing in this that was just a small little detail, was just their little anti-theft button, which was introduced before. But it was just definitely like, yeah, these are the people who know and are reacting to what the rebels are doing. Like, the rebels are throwing their shit out there and the rest of the Empire doesn't care. We'll just, like, throw more people at it. No, Thrawn has his own little squad over here that's, like, actually reacts to problems in the appropriate way. And what this TIE Defender really represents in terms of the story is a proposed solution by Thrawn to make the Empire better and actually beat the rebels.
In Thrawn's book that takes place right at the gap between season 3 and 4, he has like a little side adventure with Darth Vader. And basically something that you learn in that is that he's responsible for the creation of these new TIE Defenders.
So these TIE Defenders are Thrawn's project. And
I thought that was made apparent in the show. It's not?
I don't think so.
He says, like, I'm coming in for my inspection, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, I think Thrawn also has, like, a sense of loyalty, and he's, like, loyal to the Emperor. But also, I think, like, I don't know, he's just, like, one of those people who likes doing Sudokus, like... he really just enjoys, like, solving stuff that's difficult. He needs a challenge because he's so smart, like...
I get that. It's just, like... He seems like to have the emotional, like, be, like, emotionally invested. I think it might be more interesting in a way if he, like, felt conflicted, you know? Like, if he, like, really felt like he needed to, like, win and solve the case because of his position, but at the same time, like, he was kind of, like, admiring the rebels and, like...
I think he does admire them.
Well, admire, but you know what I mean? Like, if he, like, kind of was like ambivalent a little bit about like what he has to do, but like still went about destroying them anyways, because it's just like he gets just as like angry as like a Governor Price type would, you know.
I don't think he does. He's more calm about it. He like stood still shooting at like the TIE fighter because he's so
I think
chill.
she's more talking about like the passion behind it. Like they're both equal in passion.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like he's like standing there shooting at them because he just so badly wants them done.
If someone of Ezra Bridges' modest skill can best 3 trained pilots, our new fighter will give us an overwhelming advantage against the rebels. Governor, you may proceed.
Activating theft countermeasure now. Scramble gunships. Once they have fallen from the sky, locate and secure the crash site.
Governor Price, I'm done with her.
She didn't do much in this episode, though.
She never does anything.
This is mostly Thrawn show.
She never does anything.
Well, I just really like the whole, you already brought it up, the whole like counter theft button that they have. I don't know, I just love that basically like they can just end them at any second, but they're like using the rebels as like an advantage for like a test demonstration. The knowledge that the Empire has that the rebels don't was what made the whole battle like a lot more interesting, as opposed to just another ship battle.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Agreed. I also thought it looked cool. Like, I like the way the new TIE fighter looked.
Also, the sound.
Felt like it was just, like, well-engineered.
Like, it's like a natural progression.
Yeah, like, it looks like an actual engineer, like, drew it.
Anything to say about Ezra in this episode?
I mean, a lot of his stuff is tied to the Loth Wolves.
Okay.
I just like him best when he's connecting with animals.
Well, we all like eat all that weird spiritual shit up.
Yeah,
like once it gets weird and spiritual, I'm just like,
yes. Agreed.
I mean, I liked his saber surfing move when he was like on the cargo thing and he's like deflecting while moving.
Yeah, the action was really.
Oh,
I love that. That was so cool. I love that. I love like the
scene. And he was like all alone with like all of them shooting at him.
Yeah, like the grittiness of it. And like it wasn't like perfect, like he kept jumping and like hitting stuff and like falling and just like being clumsy and stuff. It added like such realism to it, which I loved a lot.
I thought it was really in Sabine's character that I liked how she like kept escalating like what they would get as a reward. Like she kept like making the risk higher and higher. Like we're just here to like, you know, stake it out. And then it's like, let's infiltrate it, let's steal it. It's just, it kept going and going. And
it was fun, and I felt like it was a good example of like, Sabine was introduced as the weapons person. She's the Mandalorian weapons expert, and we didn't get really enough of that until recently, where I can see her walking into a room and like, you know, making all the calls that she makes in this episode and be like, yeah, of course, she's a weapons expert, listen to what she's saying.
I've come to really appreciate her character.
Yeah, me too.
She just she's like the character that always makes it more interesting, like with what you're saying. Like she's like on the level of a Jedi in terms of her competence. And so is Hera in like a different way.
Yeah.
With
definitely.
like as soon as you like see her, it's like, oh, this is gonna be good.
You love Price's confidence too, right?
Well,
she has
so much confidence, and she like never like. It's like, how could every single time you do something you fail and then still be the way that she is?
Bro, I feel her.
Just always fucking.
Maybe it's like the shadow. It's like, I don't like her because I'm so much like her.
Yeah, I think out of like all the characters, I relate with her the most.
In Kindred, Thrawn benches Governor Price, sends in Roch instead, and Hera goes off to deliver the intel, and our heroes get even closer and more intimate with these wolves.
There are images here of people. People following a wolf.
I guess we're not the first ones.
Lots of things. Let's talk about them. Fucking Dave Filoni mainlines LSD. Just like 2 fucking injectors of LSD. Nuts. Boom. Star Wars. Taste the pain.
Okay, I guess LSD stuff first is fun. LSD Tunnel.
LSD Tunnel was pretty cool.
I loved it.
It was he had the same eyes as the Purgles from that previous episode.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Yeah, well, I think they...
A lot of eyes.
Yeah, a lot of eye. Yeah, a lot of
my
eye imagery.
God.
Always.
The cave looked like an eye if you saw it, like when they're like walking down into it.
Oh, that
It's
makes
like an
sense
eye
with
shape.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the ET ride.
Dude, I thought they had the same thing. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, because you go through space and it's like a tunnel of space.
Torres ripped off E.T.
True.
The ride.
I feel like even just the whole conceit of that like would throw people off. Why do we think it's okay?
The ET
That-
ride?
Like space travel?
Dogs travel through hyperspace through planet because magic, but to get on the other side of planet.
It's like a fucking wormhole on the planet.
Yeah,
'Cause
that
the
they're
planet's
traveling
like
through.
the planet, instead of being filled with magma,
Yeah.
it's filled with the Force.
Oh,
Yeah, dude,
I didn't.
And then they're fucking like going in with their fucking penis drill, the Empire, and extracting the Force from the planet.
Time and space does not exist in the Force. The Force is like outside of time and space. So.
No, the Force is magma.
Well, here's a question.
No, it's midichlorian liquid.
Queenie Julia, it's just magma.
So, Dave Filoni, what's Mortis about? Oh, it's about magma.
It's all magma.
What were you gonna say?
Something like I think I assumed when I first saw these episodes was that the tunnel was like part of the architecture of the place, but now I'm thinking that it's more the wolves and their abilities, because you could see like the Loth cat like ran the other way when they met the wolf, but the cat ended up being on the other side of the hemisphere as well, so which means that it's just their power. It has nothing to do with the
Well,
location.
and if you remember,
also-
that cat is the same cat that showed Ezra the visions of his parents being dead in season 2.
I forgot
that's
about that.
the only other time he showed up, but I remember seeing that and I was like, whoa, that's the cat that shows up later.
It's all
And also
about
the wolves like disappear
spirits.
into the stone.
Well, okay, what about the fucking Yoda drawing?
Yeah, the Yoda
What is
drawing.
that about? That's
Do you know
weird.
anything about this? Because I know nothing about like.
Yeah, I don't know any of the any details about it.
That was
If
some
you-
lost shit.
If
right
you
there.
do look at the drawings they have like a little stick that looks like a lightsaber on their belt. It definitely looks like Yoda, and it also looks like Ki-Adi-Mundi right next to Yoda, too.
Yeah, 'cause he's a tall
big
head.
cone head.
What?
And,
Oh my god.
yeah,
no.
so-
Retcon, he's from Lothal because of the cone.
So there's 3 different ways to read that. One is that
Is that
Yoda
like-
and the prequel era Jedi visited that exact place, and that's exactly them. 2,
Wait,
people
or-
of
no.
different species that were Jedi visited a long time ago. 3, it is just a depiction of any Jedi, and it's just has nothing to do with anything. It's
So-
just
okay.
it's just like a little Easter egg for fans who are looking.
Yeah, I think the place itself is important though, because the
Well,
place is
destination,
like
but-
some like interesting architecture, and they even say like this reminds me of a Jedi temple. Like it's some kind of like ancient.
It's like a force well or
structure.
something.
Force well, exactly.
You can also see like what looks like a chosen one in the pictures. There's like a baby that's like being worshipped.
Oh, that's cool. I did
What?
not notice that at all.
Fucking baby worship now?
What are you waiting for? Kanan? Kanan, it's looking
At me. I know.
Jessica, what do you think about Kanan's connection to the wolves? And like they seem to like stop referring to Ezra and start deferring directly to Kanan.
I like that a lot. I felt like because Kanan is like very like one with the Force. Like he has been on that kind of plane for these episodes that he like doesn't understand what it is, but he feels like it's not just like a typical mission. And also I read spoilers about what happens to him, so I already know. Just so you all know.
Awesome.
But I don't know the details.
Why would you ruin it for yourself?
Because I didn't mean to, but it just happened.
That's a lame excuse.
It came out in like a Facebook group I was on.
Why are you on the internet? Just be off the internet.
Oh,
Until we're done with the podcast.
Guess what? I'm on the internet while we're doing the podcast. That's the only thing that gets me there.
That's not a lie. Was it just spoiled for you like 2 minutes ago when you were on Facebook?
That whole fucking thing with Hera. I thought that they like sleep in the same bed. Like, isn't it clear that they're like a thing? Like, I thought they were basically married. They're acting like they just had their first kiss. Like, what the fuck?
I think it's been a while.
Do they have like an asexual relation, like an on again, off again relationship?
That's kind of how I'm interpreting it.
That's how I always interpreted it.
I do think because they've never kissed on the show, and
But I thought that was just because she's like this like general person, and
like
it's
she's just being professional, separating
Right.
work life and personal life.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do think if I remember right, when you first go on the ship, Kanan's room, there's only one bed, and I think Hera.
Oh, yeah, when he
might
steals
have
the
her own
holocron.
room. But the point is, we never see them kiss on the show, and I think clearly while they were making the show, they realized we're not ending the show without them kissing. And then it's a question of how do we make that meaningful. I think I assumed that they were on like difficult ground, that they were not like, I assumed that they're kind of in like a weird situation of being best friends, work partners, and also like romantically entangled with each other. Like that's like a lot of different things
That's
to
pretty
sort of
intense,
navigate.
Yeah.
So I feel like both their interpersonal life, the fact that they're like the surrogate parents for this whole family, and their work life, which involves risking their lives every single day and the lives of others, both held dear, and also people that they don't even know the lives are like in their hands every day. So my always thinking was that, and Kanan seems to imply in this episode, is that those things took precedence over their personal relationship. And I can see Kanan as the Jedi being like, you're right, we have to live like at some point they both like were together and like exploring a romantic relationship, but this rebel thing was
Right.
getting more and more intense, and
That's
you know,
how
I can see
too.
scenes where they're like they kiss because they want to, obviously so badly, but then they're like, yo, we can't do this, like we could die at any time, like we can't get involved, it would just make it like worse and worse, you know, and it would get in the way. I imagine like behind the scenes stuff like that happening like all the time.
Yeah, I
Or
could,
just like
I could
never,
totally see that.
never having time for a private
Yeah,
life.
like, and like this kiss, like it seemed like a first kiss, but I think it is the first kiss that just happened in like so long.
Oh, yeah.
And this kiss, like I also think like really is like defining like their future, because Kanan wants like a future.
Kanan is in like this newly enlightened place,
He
so I
feels,
like this
yeah.
idea of like it's almost like a circle. Like he was at a point where it was not the right thing to be in the relationship, but as he goes deeper and deeper into this Jedi thing, he like circles all the way back to where now he's in this whole other place, a lot wiser, a lot more emotionally intelligent, knowing of himself, knowing of the whole wider story that they're, you know, caught up in, and circling all the way back and being like, yes, now I'm at the point where like time for this to work because I fucking love you.
I just came up with a theory, you guys.
All right.
The theory of
Okay,
everything.
I just came up with a theory of everything. You guys are all gonna hate it.
Okay, great.
So you know how Kanan's like one of the best Jedis?
Yes.
And he also is in a romantic relationship.
Yes.
And as he gets more power with the Force, or like connected with the Force, he goes back to Hera. Well, you know how Anakin became the Dark Lord, whatever, because he was denied his relationship with Padme. And now we're in this new phase. What if Rey ends up bringing the ultimate balance to the Force by instating for the Jedi that they need to have romantic relationships in order to be stable by having a romantic relationship with Kylo Ren? Wouldn't that be terrible?
Yeah, I would fucking hate that.
Yeah, it's like, that's literally like what Rose said. Where it's like, we don't win by like fighting what we hate. We do it by love. And then Rey would kiss Kylo, and I would hate that.
And they'd have like
It's
her
also,
like voiceover.
I feel like
in that moment I realized that I just had to be in a relationship for there to be balance in the universe.
Episode 9 starts.
Like, stop kissing.
Episode 9 starts with that, and then episode 9 starts with that whole thing, and then it freeze frames. She's like, I bet you're wondering how I ended up here.
It all started
and then
with
the
my
title
first
crawl
kiss.
starts.
Rise of Skywalker, Kylo Ren has kissed Rey. And they have been in a relationship for a couple of years now.
Turmoil.
Literally, turmoil has started, and they don't want to live together anymore.
Oh no.
Go
Now,
see a therapist.
to sort of riff on that, I do feel like I would like to see what Rey thinks of the Jedi rules, but that's not really anything that I feel like they even cared to touch on at all. So I kind of feel like that is what they're gonna do, kind of.
So I'm right.
And but I don't know.
But how will they do it in a way that's not terrible?
December 20th. That's the
ruin
poster
your
quote.
Christmas.
You already aren't gonna like it, but will you not like it less than you're expecting?
December
Rolls off
20th.
the tongue.
The kiss that saved Christmas.
Okay.
The
back to
rise of
episode.
the mistletoe.
I assume you are Thrawn's assassin, Rook?
I smell it.
You smell what?
I smell the sat. And he's not alone.
Yes, fucking,
Jordan, put it down.
like little ant creature. He was creepy.
Yeah, I like him. I like the way he moved.
He's so
Yeah,
cool.
he was weird.
I love his suit.
Our boys were calling him an it. They were like,
Oh,
look
yeah.
at that ugly it creature. Fuck. And I was just like, damn, your friend who's on Lasat is like right
Oh,
next
and then
to
they
you.
were I smell the Lasai.
Yeah.
It's so terrible.
Jordan, I'm giving it all to you.
The contractor hired a contractor.
What are you talking
Thrawn
about?
hired
Oh,
Rook.
okay.
Rook is on the scene. But yeah, Price is, worthless. Thrawn sees that, so Rook is now smelling them out, and he puts a tracker on the speeder. He gets their base location.
He gets the job done. I really liked the
Super
chase scene
fast.
was super engaging.
Yeah,
the chase scene, and I love the detail of him going over and shooting his speeder up
Phantom
into the
Menace.
air, like in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
But that's how much he cares.
Yeah, he's like Thrawn, but sniffy.
But about killing.
Thrawn has the people that actually are good at their job.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
his cell phone.
Like if the TIE Defender was a person, it would be Rook.
They wrote Rook's name in the books. They had no idea. He wasn't thinking about pronunciation, so that was a big debate in the writing room.
I think it was he did write the enunciation with that in mind, and then no one could say it. And then Lars Mikkelsen went into the booth and said it exactly right the first time.
Oh, that's even cooler.
Why say Rook when you can say Rook instead? But he was like, no, I'm committed to this.
Wait, how do you spell Rook?
I think it's
R-U-K-H. You
Yeah.
read the original Thrawn trilogy, right? When you were 12?
Yeah, I read the first one when I was 13 or 14. And then I read the second two comic adaptations.
Right.
The Yuzong Vong aren't in that, right?
No. Yuzong Vong are way in the future.
Or who's the old guy with the beard that's on all the covers?
Don't
Don't
ask.
get me started. His name is literally Obi-Wan Bajobi.
No, that's
or some shit.
The next coming episodes we'll be talking about are Season 4, Episode 8, Crawler Commandos, Rebel Assault, Jedi Knight, and Doom.
Oh my god. D-U-M-E?
D-U-M-E.
Yeah, D-U-M-E.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. If we had a Star Wars trivia team, can we be called?
The Doomies.
The Doomers?
Doomers?
Okay, Doomers.
Okay, Doomers.
Can we be called
I'm Jordan.
I'm Keats.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Yates. May the chopper be with you, always chopping, always.